Yes, Indiana Jones is among the most beloved of film franchises, but that doesn't mean the movies are without their flaws. We've all rolled our eyes at the scene where Indy survives a nuclear bomb by hiding in a refrigerator, but here's a rundown of some other less obvious but still pretty dumb things that the Indiana Jones movies ask its viewers to ignore. When Raiders of the Lost Ark opens, Indiana Jones is unfazed by his colleagues' stories about ancient mystical powers that could destroy everyone seeking the Ark of the Covenant. By the end of the movie, once he's experienced a bunch of ghosts with the power to melt Nazis' faces off, he's forced to accept that there are powers in the world well beyond his understanding. He even ends the movie by warning the government agents that they don't know what they're dealing with.
You don't look very happy.
Fools. Bureaucratic fools.
What'd they say?
They don't know what they've got there.
Great character arc, right? Here's a problem. While it came out 3 years after Raiders, Temple of Doom is actually a prequel that takes place a year earlier. In that movie, Indy saw a man's heart magically ripped from his chest while still beating, and personally turned magic stones white hot by invoking the name of Shiva. Despite bearing witness to all that, Indiana Jones is still a skeptic. In The Last Crusade, he's very quick to dismiss stories about King Arthur and the Holy Grail as bedtime stories. He's even still hanging on to those doubts when Crystal Skull rolls around. It's one thing to try and ensure your character can be relatable and realistic when he's dealing with ancient fantastical mysteries, but for Indy to simply ignore some of the most exciting, perplexing, and incredibly real moments of his life is just silly. After thrilling chases, a couple of failed rescue attempts, and outsmarting the bad guys at every turn throughout Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and Marion Ravenwood are captured and forced to witness a hellish moment when the bad guys open the Ark. As the power of the Ark is unleashed, Indy tells Marion that they can't look at it, no matter what happens. He's right too. In the midst of a cadre of Nazis being burned alive by the wrath of God, the good guys are spared from its wrath. So how in the world did Indy know not to look at the Ark? Earlier in the film, it's mentioned that the Ark was hidden away due to its immense power being too much for mankind to handle. But the cheat code of just closing one's eyes came kind of out of nowhere. Also, we're not complaining, but it does seem a little weird that nobody else figured out that they shouldn't look at the blinding light that was melting everyone. As it turns out, Indy was warned about this in a scene that was cut from the final version of the movie. That might be a good way for Indy to know, but the audience sure doesn't. It might seem like we're picking on Raiders, but in a movie that's otherwise perfect, the few flaws are really easy to spot. Take for instance, Indy's trip on a Nazi submarine. The key word there is on, not in. With the help of a friendly sea captain, Indy stealths his way into a U-boat to rescue Marion and defeat Belloc, jumping atop it just before it goes underwater. The film then cuts to an island where the villains plan to open the Ark of the Covenant. So how did our soaking wet Indy survive the trip? Obviously, he couldn't just cling to the periscope and hold his breath for hundreds of miles. But from what we've seen in the movie, and even a deleted scene, that's exactly what happened. It's just a good thing nobody ever bothered to lower the periscope for the entire trip, or else would have to deal with the explanation that Indy was secretly the lost king of Atlantis all this time. When Temple of Doom opens, Indiana Jones is accompanied by a young child named Wan Li, who Jones refers to as Short Round. It's later revealed that the young Chinese boy from Shanghai got busted trying to pick the archaeologist's pocket, and they eventually became friends.
You make me pull! No fun!
While opinions are split about Short Round, it's undeniable that he provided some comic relief and drove the getaway car, pulled stunts as daring as his mentor, and even broke Indy from a magic mind-control trance. By the end of the film, they both return to the small Indian village as triumphant heroes. After that, who knows? The third movie opens with absolutely no mention of Short Round. There's not even a whisper of him, nor is he mentioned in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which came after Temple of Doom chronologically. Short Round is just gone after the credits roll. Romantic partners like Willie come and go for a rugged and handsome bachelor like Jones. The young child that he took under his wing and brought thousands of miles from his home on numerous death-defying adventures, you'd think they'd at least stay in touch. We might even be willing to forgive some of Crystal Skull's more egregious sins if Indy's successor turns out to be Ke Huy Quan instead of Shia LaBeouf. There's a lot to be upset about in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but the most important might just be that it shifts the genre of the franchise in a way that just doesn't work. There's nothing wrong with a good science fiction story, if that's what you want to call this movie. But for it to come in the fourth installment of a franchise rooted in pulpy, fantastical adventure after a nearly 20-year gap just feels jarring and unnecessary.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
The movie ends with Jones and his cohorts finding a collection of alien skeletons with one missing head. After returning the infamous crystal skull, the aliens come to life and vacate Earth in a flying saucer. Indiana Jones is a guy who frequently comes across the unknown in his pursuits of ancient and mysterious artifacts, but Roswell aliens are a very different kind of mysterious, even if, and especially if, they show up 20 years after he was dealing with biblical goblets. They feel out of place in Indy's world of historical legends and supernatural treasures. In short, never switch your genre in the 4th movie of a series. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.